Lu Sheng's spaceship was protected by a shield. He had put the white wormhole shuttle on standby and activated its defense systems. Our boy was floating in space right in front of the giant star, which Lu Sheng had reached in an instant, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. As the star's powerful energy expanded through the area, Lu Sheng clenched his fists tightly and began to ponder in silence. His eyes filled with seriousness as he recalled that, when he was level 8, the flame he controlled in the third stage of the void clarity state already exceeded 1,000 degrees. The star was blasting out waves of heat, capable of scorching any warrior who got too close. Far from feeling fear, his eyes began to shine with excitement and a smile spread across his face. The star's surface temperature of over 6,000 degrees was nothing to him at this moment. Without wasting another second, Lu Sheng shot forward towards the star, deciding it was time to begin. Surrounded by martial energy, Lu Sheng launched himself like a meteor towards it, quickly sinking into the star's surface. It didn't take long for the heat to start burning away parts of his clothes, causing a smile to spread across his face, as this sensation was excellent and unprecedented. In an instant, the heat burned Lu Sheng's shirt off. As an intense heat wave emerged from the star, Lu Sheng advanced towards it without hesitation. Once close, Lu Sheng inhaled and his eyes widened with a sense of calm. The maximum temperature inside a star, reaching billions of degrees, could absolutely meet his cultivation requirements. Our boy focused, and his eyes began to shine with determination. Lu Sheng started to absorb the heat, and shortly after, a golden mark formed on his back. As martial energy surged from his body, he couldn't help but smile. He had taken too long to come and cultivate in this place. For him, this was a true paradise. Lu Sheng began to charge towards the star's interior, where the heat was even intense, because to reach the absolute limit, he had to delve deeper inside. Observing carefully, he realized it wouldn't be long before he reached the perfection of level 9, completed the final missing piece of his martial dharma aspect, and formally advanced to level 10. The closer Lu Sheng got to the star's interior, the more intense the energy and heat became. Without hesitating for a single second, Lu Sheng plunged into the star's core, causing a strange reaction. At the same time, on some other planet, it was daytime, and the city was bustling with people enjoying their lives. Time had flown by. Nearly 3 months had passed since the invitation to the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Tournament. The announcement of this tournament was like a massive meteorite that tore through the silence of the starry sky and crashed into the 12 star sectors, shattering the peace that had lasted for tens of thousands of years. People grabbed the flyers and couldn't help but feel excited as a great once-in-a-century war was about to begin. The sky was filled with spaceships as everyone flocked to board them and head to the Yamu star sector. Somewhere else in the galaxy, a large merchant ship from another star sector arrived as the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Tournament was in full swing. Inside the ship was a luxurious room with important people. While some were enjoying food, others were chatting. All of this had shattered the peace of the 12 star sectors that had lasted for tens of thousands of years. And now countless bigwigs, martial powerhouses, and geniuses were boarding starships to head to the Yamu star sector. Somewhere in the room was a purple-haired man with a claw-like scar over his eye and elf-like ears. He was no ordinary man, as a strange aura emanated from his body. While he was lost in thought, someone approached him to ask Mr. Leo what he was thinking about. Leo snapped out of his trance and grew somewhat curious. When he turned around, he saw a woman with elf ears enjoying a glass of wine. Leo placed a hand on his chest and with a serene expression replied to Miss Trinus that he was just passing the time. Before commenting on how beautiful the starry sky was, Trinus observed him in silence, her eyes shining with joy. She asked him with a smile to just call me Trinus. He blushed, averted his gaze, tucked a strand of his hair, and admitted that the starry sky was indeed beautiful, but if you looked at it for too long, it could feel a bit boring and monotonous. Besides, the sky hadn't been very peaceful lately. She began to look lovingly at Leo and stuck out her tongue, recalling that he, a peak level 11 martial expert, had suffered the misfortune of his small spaceship being damaged. Upon learning that his destination was also the Yamu Star sector, he had set out with them. As the captain of this merchant ship, her vessel's combat strength wasn't entirely sufficient. Leo, with his arms behind his back, began to gaze to the side in silence. While he was distracted, she approached and took his hand. Noticing this, his eyes widened in surprise and confusion, not knowing what she had in mind. She began to look into Leo's eyes with an expression full of love. Due to this interstellar grand tournament, space pirates were running rampant across more than a dozen star sectors, and the police in sectors like Yamu and White Mist simply couldn't handle it all on their own. Fortunately, we had him, which made her feel much more at ease. With a confused look, Leo realized he hadn't felt at ease in a long time. Flashing a confident smile, Leo asked her if she knew how many colors there were in the interdimensional battlefield. Hearing this, Trina's eyes widened in surprise and confusion, wondering if Mr. Leo had been to the interdimensional battlefield before. Leo put his arms behind his back and began to look up at the ceiling. He then imagined a city of chaos, with mutant beasts everywhere, and his eyes filled with sadness as he remembered that in the interdimensional battlefield, you could only see 3 colors. A gray sky and the black aberrant beasts Trina observed intently. Leo turned towards her and began to stare at her with a gaze full of rage. Noticing this, she couldn't help but feel somewhat confused. Leo began to imagine a mountain of corpses, revealing that the 3rd color was the ordinary red that stained the earth. Trina placed a hand on her chest, her eyes filled with fear. Noticing this, Leo couldn't help but feel a bit surprised, as he hadn't expected her to react this way. With a sincere expression, he placed a hand on his chest and with a nervous smile, apologized to Captain Trina, admitting that he had recalled some unpleasant memories and surely had frightened her. With a smile, she reminded Mr. Leo to just call her Trina from now on, as calling her Captain felt too distant. With a cheerful expression, he extended his hand and changed the subject, asking Trina who the favorites for this tournament were. Trina turned serious and decided to take a look. The system began to display a red-haired woman and a hooded man with angel wings. The first was Gray, from the Blue Demon family of the Black Flouter sector. At 700 years old, she possessed a Luna Moon grade extraordinary physique and peak level 11 strength. The second was Ice Demon Monroe, from the Hill sector. He had a 3-star Sunstar physique and could reach extraordinary level 12 at any moment. Trina's eyes widened in surprise. She realized that he wasn't even 400 years old and his future was limitless. Leo began to read intently and couldn't help but feel somewhat surprised. Then the system began to display Lu Sheng smiling, and Trina mentioned that this was the most prominent person in the competition and the key figure who initiated it, Lu Sheng, the wielder of an insane grade bloodline that only appeared once in a million years in the Amu Star district. Her eyes began to shine with sincerity, as she had once thought this was only a legendary existence and never expected it to actually exist in reality. With a curious gaze, Leo confirmed that, indeed, an insane grade is extremely rare and dazzlingly brilliant even on the battlefield of other space. Trina's attention was fixed on the system window, leaving her somewhat confused. While her eyes were shining, she turned to Leo and with a smile explained that unfortunately, this insane grade's strength was a bit weak, only level 9. She feared his brilliance would be overshadowed by the other geniuses in this tournament, as predictions gave him less than 20% chance of winning. In contrast, Monroe, the Ice Demon from the Hill sector, was the top favorite, so this insane grade seed may well be snuffed out in the cradle. The system continued to show the image of Lu Sheng smiling. Trina grew curious and asked Mr. Leo if he also planned to enter the tournament, as, with his strength, making it into the top 10 would be very simple. Leo's eyes widened in surprise. He placed a hand on his chest and felt somewhat confused, then closed his eyes and shook his head. He began to look down at the floor and with a wicked smile revealed that
He had more important things to do. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then subscribe to our channel.